Hello there, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us and on our family, our furry family. This is Amanda. My name's Amanda. This is Rene Ringnalda. We're the founders of Samadog, Wellbeing for dogs and their humans. And what our mission is with Samadog and why we're here tonight is to share with you about bringing your animals into your spiritual practice. What Samadog is all about really is we're on a mission. And what that mission is to expand people's hearts and minds and lives to include their dogs, to see their dogs as that spiritual being that they are, as the important being as they are, and recognize that natural, and you could call it spiritual, lifestyle also has a huge benefit for them. We focus a lot in on the mutual healing, the mutual experience of human and dogs together, and our bond, our friendship, and how powerful that is for both of us, and how much we can gain out of that relationship, and how powerfully our choices and our influence in their life can help them heal and become happy and whole, and definitely overcome a lot of the challenges that our dogs face and that we're facing with them. So we'll get into that a little bit tonight. Tonight's theme, just to make a short talk together tonight, but tonight the idea is that we want to talk about first why include your dog in your spiritual practice, in addition to what I've shared already. Well, why do that? And then of course some practical tips of how do you do that? What we will also do is when the video is finished up, we'll post below our a MP3 of our guided meditation that we recorded last week. So it's for you and your dog. The intention of it is to bring your dog with you. And you can download this MP3. You just put in your email address and you get that for free. It's our gift to you to send you into a new year with a tool that you can experience this with your dog and open up your practice to your dog. So that'll be posted below after we're finished up. And also, just in case you're not staying until the end or you don't hear it, we'd love to join you again on Friday morning at 7 a.m., this Friday, 7 a.m., and we're going to do a live meditation together, all of us. We'll do our morning meditation. You can invite your dogs in and we'll have some fun together. So let's talk about it. You ready?
Yeah, sounds good.
So why? I think it's good to start with why. Why is it that we want to include our dog in our spiritual life?
Yeah, so, well, let me start off by saying, let me tell you a little bit about how I looked at life from a very early age. I think most of us grow up only being aware of our body and, yeah, to a certain extent, our mind. With our thoughts, we are aware of our thoughts, we are aware of our feelings and emotions, but that's about it. Then we just go about life and do our things. But it was much later in life when I started to find deeper layers of myself, and so often that is referred to as your spiritual self. And that really came about through meditation. And that meditation, you do practices that quiet down your thoughts, and you become aware of a deeper layer of yourself, and that deeper layer actually is a connection to everything else in the universe. And when we talk about dogs, most of us see dogs as, yeah, there is a dog, it's a human companion, and we treat him as such. But you can see already here what Graham is doing. He's like really cuddling up. He's wanting a deeper connection. I'm not forcing that. I'm not doing that. By the way, a few months ago, he would never do that. He was very shy, and but now look at him. He's like really asking for my attention and my affection, a much deeper emotional layer. And I think when we start to see the dogs as a spiritual being as well, that's where deep healing comes in. And we will offer that with Samadog. We will give you lots of tools and techniques to really discover that and really to open you up for to being open to that. And it is actually at the level of the spirituality, if you want to call it that, that's where we meet. When we go beyond the body, when we go beyond the mind, when we rest in that being, that's the same place where the spirituality of the dog also lies. So yeah, that's, I think, a very powerful component.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And many of you probably see this and realize this as well, especially if you are already moving into kind of a more evolved relationship and lifestyle with your dog, is that we have a very old paradigm in the way we take care of our animals. And Rene and I have been lucky enough to work with Deepak Chopra and the Chopra Center staff and all of the amazing teachers that come through the Chopra Center for the last almost 12 years now for me, and 8 or so for Rene. And in that journey, in that experience, we see that people really awaken to a soulful life for themselves. And then, of course, the Chopra Center is able, and our teachers and we as teachers are able to provide the tools. And what the intention is, the mission is of Sama Dog, because we've seen people awaken to their own spiritual side for so many years, and like the joy we feel in supporting that for them, we now can inspire, hopefully, others, at least some of you that are on the line with us right now or might watch this video later, to come with us on this journey, to join our community, to now step into a time in which is here, which is opening our minds, opening our hearts, opening our lives to a deeper connection, a deeper understanding, a deeper bond. That's another reason of why, because that your spiritual practice is so sacred and so special, so evolutionary for your life journey, that as soon as you bring your dog into it, even as simple as bringing him into a conversation like this, but then maybe even bringing him into some of your practices, as soon as you do that, you start a whole new paradigm. We're starting to live in a different way now with our animals, and the issues that have plagued them for many years, just as we've seen in human beings that come through and to the teachings, we see with animals as well, time after time at the vet. I know many of you probably have this experience right now. Chronic illnesses with your animals, pesky behavioral things, sometimes more than pesky, sometimes just downright destructive or difficult. Of course, this is a reason why a lot of dogs don't work out in the home, because there's a disconnect. So hopefully with Sama Dog, with these practices, with our guidance to support you, we can help build that bridge even more closely.
Yeah, and you see them more as whole beings. And we will teach you, we will tell you also how to see this as a whole being and start them to treat like that as a whole being. So, and we do that in many different areas. So we will look at nutrition, we look at sensory experiences, we look at aromas. We have lots of things that we can offer you, lots of tools for you to apply immediately to your dog. And if you do that, you will see very quickly the results, and you see a change in his behavior, and the relationship between you and the dog will deepen, and it brings joy to your life. And not only that, we have also seen that now in recent studies, that if you care at this level with your dog, then the levels of your the hormone levels like dopamine and serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins, they go up in your body and also in the dog simultaneously, and it's lots of really interesting benefits. So we'll provide that information also on our website later on samadog.com. So visit the page, please.
Yeah, lots of good stuff there. Great articles. The study Rene is referring to is a study that was recently done where people were watched in a room for a half an hour. They stayed in the room with their dog. The individuals, the pairs, I should say, that had a lot of eye contact throughout, they studied the hormone levels in the human and in the dog. In the dog, the oxytocin went up by 50%, and in the human, it went up by 300%. So that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
and it just shows that mutual exchange, that bond. So those are a few of the reasons of why you would want to expand your practice to include your dog. And now how? What are the practical techniques and tips? So as I mentioned at the top of this conversation of our broadcast here, is that on Friday we will meditate together, 7 a.m. We'll all join together. We'll be in our jammies still, but we'll all come together and we'll meditate, and that'll give you that experience. In addition, at the end of this, we'll post the meditation, the guided audio of a meditation with your dog. You can download that and use it on a daily basis if you'd like to have that experience. So that's one way that we kind of reserve for Friday and for your download, but we wanted to give you those tools. So that's one practical way. What else?
Yeah, so let's talk about it just a little bit, just a tad, but I think you cannot talk enough about meditation because for a lot of people this is very new. And let me start with explaining a little bit how we do it and what it takes and what it looks like. So we started to experiment with this like a year and a half ago, I think. And just seeing if it even would work out, if a dog could actually meditate with you. We didn't quite know if that would work out. And what we found out, of course, to our, now not anymore to our surprise, is that they love it. They love the shift in energy. In the beginning it takes a training, and Amanda will explain more what that exactly looks like. But if you keep doing this, then you'll see that shortly, very shortly, within a couple of weeks, the dogs, as soon as you go to your meditative space and you start to meditate, the dog will follow you. The dog will sit next to you, lay next to you, and it will be quiet as long as you are quiet. And we see that with all our 4 dogs. And he is just confirming this. You see that? And there's more tips also on samadog.com, so visit that.
And we'll talk about it more. We'll experience it together on Friday. But what else? I think that what you should talk about, if I can say, this is the husband-wife thing, right?
Sure.
The wife tells the husband what to do.
Okay.
I don't mean that. But no, but I do love how you, Rene, you're always talking to the dogs. I love that. You know, sometimes I'll come home and I can sense like an energy and I'm like, what's going on here? And he'll say, oh, I was talking to dogs. I explained to them what was going on. So...
Yeah, I've learned well, I'm at home a lot, so I don't really have an office, so I'm at home a lot. And Amanda used to be at work a lot more, and then I was at home with the 4 dogs. And kind of naturally over time, I just started to talk to these guys. And what I've noticed is, in the beginning I didn't pay attention so much, but after a while I started to notice that they were actually really responding to whatever I was saying. So I truly believe now that really start a conversation with your dog. Just start talking to them. You'll see, and I'm sure many of you can confirm this, that they can actually really hear you. Even if it's the tone of your voice or it is the energy that you put behind it, whatever you say to them, it makes a huge difference, and they really understand you. So I would highly encourage you to experiment with this, and include them in everything you do, even when there's fireworks. I now say, like an hour before, I say, in an hour, I explain them like it is a person what is going to happen. And even also when we go away, even if I go to the supermarket, to the grocery, I explain to them, I'll be right back. And you see them, you see the connection, you see them looking at you, and they know what you're doing. So it's very, very helpful.
And I was just speaking with someone yesterday, it just made my mind go there, is she has a dog that's dying from terminal cancer. And she has another dog as well. And we were talking about how it's time, because the dog is in the state that it's in and the diagnosis is such, it's time to really start talking to the dogs about what's going on here. And at first I could tell she was a little bit like, really? I just talk to them and tell them like one's sick and we'll leave this physical plane? And I said, yeah, exactly that. Just start telling your dogs. Again, they don't necessarily understand every word of English, although dogs can understand like 200 words or more or less, depending on intelligence, of course, but they can understand English, a lot of English. But you're not talking to them, explaining something like cancer to them so that they understand cancer and know that word. It's so that the energy that's in your heart and in your intention is conveyed to them, and they get it. They really do get it. And the other dog gets it. So the other dog can start to mentally prepare for the experience that's coming, for the changes that are to happen, and for the new life, the different life that they're going to have soon. We don't think about this, we just go about the practices and the activities and the caring for the dog, but we don't really think about how important that communication component is. And I think all of us would agree that communication is the key to success in every single relationship of any kind.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, involve your dog, your pet, more in your life than what you've done so far. It really makes a difference. You'll see it, and they will be listening to you better. They know when you really bring them into your family. So yeah.
Okay. Yes, that is very true. And then, and I was just thinking, why is this part of a spiritual practice? It's just because it's from your heart. And a spiritual practice can also make people kind of go to other spaces in their mind, and other associations like religious or whatnot. And that's not what we believe, or are trying to share at all. It's not a religious thing. It's really just living life with intention, living life from your heart, living a soulful experience. And when we include our dogs in that soulful, conscious journey of life, everything starts to change. Our eyes are opened to a whole new way of being, and they're so much healthier and happier for it. Oftentimes in my classes, I'll share, just generally speaking, we don't spend nearly as much time or money at veterinary offices as we did before. Once we started to bring these practices into our life, and more importantly into their life, everything changed. And the healing, the body is the thing that's able to heal. It's not us creating that for our dogs. It's creating an environment, just like the spiritual practices do for human beings. It's about creating an environment that your body and your mind is allowed to heal itself. The stress is suppressed in such a way that the body and the mind are able to heal itself. So the last thing that I did want to add, though, before we finish up, is one last spiritual practice, or one way to bring spirituality into your dog's life, is also around their food. Now, food is a whole big, giant conversation that we will definitely have in different settings and different opportunities. But for now, why not just bring a little intentionality into the moments that you're cooking their food? Rather than just tossing some kibble in a bowl and getting on with your day, even if you are just tossing kibble in a bowl, just intentionally put the food down for them, and maybe just take one moment, one breath of intention to infuse that food with good energy, with life force, with prana, as we call it in the yoga tradition. So maybe it's a prayer or an intention over their food. If that just feels weird, then just send love to it. It's the same reason why our mom's food is so good. When we go home and we eat that food and we feel that nourishment that only mamas can share, that it's because so much love has been infused in that food. And you can do that same thing with your dog. They are what they eat as well, and so they'll consume it and be healthier and happier for it, just as we are. Anything else?
No, I think this is beautiful. I think we gave you a lot of tips. I think we gave you a lot of things that you can do, simple things, nothing difficult. And again, I would highly recommend, if you want to read through much more, visit our website, samadog.com. You'll find lots of tips from Amanda there.
And I see a couple of you have written in some thoughts, so let me just look over it and see if there's anything we'd like to share before we close up. Our beloved Jeanette, our friend Jeanette, says, my dogs love when I have conversations with them. I have experienced behavior changes from these chats too. Yeah. And chants. You can chant with your dog and really see a lot, feel a lot of difference and notice a difference in them. But yeah, these chats are wonderful as well. Rene says, Rene, beloved member of our Sama Dog family as well, they totally understand when you talk to them. They really do get the energy and the attention coming from your heart and can be quite telepathic. Definitely.
Wonderful.
Our friend Jennifer Fitting with Moksha. Moksha came through our home as well and into Jennifer's heart. And she says that she can hear her aunt and uncle. And she says that she loves you both. Keep sharing your passion. Aw, so sweet. Yeah. Very nice, friends. Oh, it's wonderful to see so many of you here. And I get emotional just reading your comments because this work is so deep in our heart. And for those of you that know us, know that there is really nothing more important for us at this point than sharing our love and sharing these teachings and sharing what we've come to know works for human beings, and now being able to share that with our animal kingdom and hopefully be able to ripple out a tide of wellness and better care of all of us a happier way of living, a more peaceful way of living, a healthier state of being. So again, we'll put our meditation down in the comments if you'd like to download it and check it out. An MP3 audio download for you for free. Just give us your email, you'll get the download and you'll enjoy that. And then on Friday morning, this Friday morning, 7 a.m., join us here in our meditation space with your dog and we'll do it all together. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and for sharing the love and for sharing our Sama Dog mission. Namaste.
Bye. Graham's actually waiting. Bye.